Hello, hello, welcome. See see how we're framed here. Looks good, pretty good. Let me get a few things I need to have right here with me. Make sure you've got what you need for our practice together today. My bell, I've got flowers that were gifted to my husband's mom died um, in February, I think on February 24th, actually the day of the invasion of Ukraine. So it's memorable in my heart. Um, and the flowers were given to us last weekend, two bunches, one for my brother-in-law and one for my husband, or for us. And they're wilting, beginning to wilt, but I've changed out the water, I've taken care of them, and I'll add a little color here today. So thank you for joining us. Let me see if I've got anyone with me real time. I'm not sure, but I'm so glad to be here with you today. I was inspired by the idea of rest this week. The thumbnail, I always try to match the thumbnail on this YouTube posting with my theme. And I have a different thumbnail. I couldn't load it. It was too big. It's over 2 megabytes. But it was really amazing. I just have to share with you when I do these things on the computer and that I can take a photo a few hours ago this morning on our morning walk, um, that it comes to I can put it on my computer, that I can doctor the photo a little bit, like in a, um, yeah, I don't even know. I guess before computers, I'm not sure we could do that. You could do something in the dark room, I guess. I'm not so familiar. Um, Maybe you could, but now we can touch it up. We can automatically highlight. We can create more shadow effect, all these things. And then I can shrink the file, I can make it a certain shape, and I can just with my finger drag it from one place on my computer screen to another. And that image gets on yours. Sometimes these seemingly simple things are really quite miraculous, aren't they? They almost overwhelm me. So this half hour together, and thank you for joining us. I think Melissa, a new Melissa to me, is joining us. Maybe you've registered before. Thank you, Tanya and Nancy, for registering. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us. Thank you, Brooke, for sometimes joining. Kamalesh, Mary Jane's been joining sometimes. It just warms my heart that we're together in this way and we're taking time to pause, just as the thumbnail that I will put up there, I put one in its place now, but is are this blanket of camellia petals underneath this shrub, and some of the blooms are still on the bush, but there's this the message that just came to me, aside from the delightful glow of color, but this idea of rest, rest. And you've probably heard this before, this notion of music, if it didn't have the pauses that it has, the silent parts in it, even if they're momentary pauses, and sometimes they're longer. Um, and if you read music, we have that symbol for rest. Would not be as effective, as beautiful as it sounds to us. All right, so let's fully arrive. Maybe you have been as you're listening to my words, and as I have feel now that my own body is uh, is a little more settled right on this spot, and I'll be guiding you through this arriving, this coming to feel our presence right here, right now, to becoming conscious of this presence that's actually always here. This present awareness that is, I'm making this gesture of it feels like it's behind us, but it's everywhere, and it's prior to a thought, it's prior to a form. It is always with us, always available. And it feels like it's more yin, it's more quiet, it's more spacious. And this description puts it in the duality of yin yang, of the opposing active, um, hot forces, very expressive. Both can be expressive, I guess, but it is something that is without any qualities. It's just looking. It's just knowing, and it is. I trust this from my teachers, and I. This is one of those concepts that I'm still working on truly feeling it myself, but I sort of know it intuitively that it is the source of everything. So in a way, there is a active component of it. It is the Shakti to the Shiva to draw from Hindu imagery. And so it does help us to get quiet and get still, to feel the actual weight, not the memory. And our mind is so strong and such a powerful tool that can give us a feel of something, a virtual reality. But the reality of it takes to actually direct focus our attention. So in my experience, I've got my left ankle folded over my right ankle, and there's a heaviness, a kind of it's, it's weighting it down. My right leg against the ground, my left knee a little lifted from the ground, but feeling the right foot underneath it. And each of those parts I just described, and your body might be in a different positioning, but notice the way it tells you how it is now, today. And again, thank you all. If I didn't mention your name, I know you're out there, and this community aspect that we are in communion together in this life experience. Powerful in the support and inspiration it gives us on our path. And so feel the other parts of your body, just lightly let the lens of your attention feel your belly. It just can turn and shift and move so easily, sometimes not so easily, but in my experience right now, it's easy to bring my attention to my belly. And you could even use your hands as I am, not on my belly, but close. And feeling belly, feeling ribs. So you could put your hands on parts of your body, collarbones, maybe shoulders, neck. And so feeling as maybe a blind person might, the form that is here. And even if your hands are not touching, that's really a powerful way to sense, to relate, to have your hands relate to other parts of your body, to your head, back of the head, and even toward the back body, however far you might reach. You could place your wrists or hands back there, low back even. So getting this feel for the form and shape that is right here, and then tuning into breathing. And of course, you can choose to be lying down. Yesterday, after quite a busy 36 hours, I lay on the couch relaxing and put my legs up on the upright part of the couch. It's one of my favorite resting positions. You might be lying on your side. You might be sitting in a favorite chair where you can lean into the back. And breath. So let's see about this friend who never leaves us, this friend so associated with spirit, with the Holy Spirit that is there for us even when we forget about her. We can benefit our our life by sometimes paying attention to the breath, relaxing, even finding a pause at the end of an exhale. And then after that pause, inhaling and a pause at the top of the inhale. And then let's add some movement here where we take our arms up in any way you like as you inhale. And I'm going to lift my gaze and tilt my head back to look up, and then the arms down any way that feels fun and delicious for you. I'm stretching out through my wingtips, my fingers, even. And then perhaps and you can turn your head to watch and keep your eyes closed or have them open. Add something else. I'm actually going to change my leg positions as well. And you can, or you don't have to. I'm sitting with knees out to the side. Now bend over to the side as I exhale. Inhale the arms back up, and then over to the other side. Maybe as you bend to the side, turn your head a few times side to side. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling to the other side. And then back to center and sit in some comfortable way. And so we went kind of, let's say, four directions. The upward movement is a little bitty back bend, the downward movement, a little bitty forward bend. We went side to side and then add a twist. So that'll bring us to those famous six directions of the spine that we can use in yoga. It's a fabulous way to do a mini practice. If you are wondering, how could I do just a few minutes practice? And so six directions is a great guide. You could do them in from various positions. You could be in table pose on your hands and knees. And if you're watching, you can see that I'm turning my head and eyes opposite the direction that my front chest is twisting, turning, and make it feel delicious. So you don't have to. There's no benefit in making it hurt. Make it feel delicious, and perhaps you're sensing I haven't brought it into our discussion today, my discussion of the length of the spine. Again, you could do this from laying down, you could be doing it in a chair, you could be doing it from standing. You could be doing it in a box with a fox, upside down even, if you're standing on your head. All right, or start arriving back to a position where we'll move towards stillness, toward our meditation. So taking rest, just like in a musical score or a musical piece, the benefits are in the beauty of a rest. It doesn't have to be long. It could be very short. And taking them through the day in some way, maybe even in conversation. And you've probably had these conversations or talks. I met another dog owner this morning as we're walking our dog, and I've seen him a number of times, and started in a little conversation, and then I started asking a little too much questions. I could just feel I was going in the wrong direction. I didn't catch myself there. Hopefully, I didn't get too intrusive, but afterward, I felt like, yeah, I should have stopped a little short of all those personal questions I was asking a neighbor that I just see casually in the park nearby. No harm done, but we might avert some harm that we might afflict on another or on ourselves by having the pause, the rest close at hand, kind of keeping that option right up front so that we know. And sometimes we might need a longer intermission. We might need to remove ourselves from a situation for a bit longer. And in the rest come some very delicious things, new perspective, creative new ideas bubble up. Hmm. All right. So as you move closer and closer to where you will be positioned for our meditation, I wanted to add this poem last minute. The poem I read last week in last week's practice, the inaction of shoes, is sort of part of what I'm speaking of today. And this poem, Spring Blessing, I don't know if it fits my theme, but in a way it does. In the very first part of it, I wanted to share it anyway. It's a poem I've often shared, but it's been a while since I have. Spring Blessing. One day you wake up. One day you wake up. Now that's a moment of rest, of pause, able to name the weight you've been carrying. One day you wake up, able to name the weight you've been carrying. Maybe after all winter's rest, as spring comes, this inspiration, this new view. That realizing it's not a part of your body or your being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. You set it down gently, without fanfare, in the long, soft grass on the side of the road, and walk on, surprised to find yourself smiling in the warm sun for no particular reason at all. And so perhaps our arrival, our slight movement explorations, and these words from Oriah Mountain Dreamer have landed you to a little bit more feel of stillness and yet aliveness right here. And so make any last adjustments to support your meditation. About 8 minutes together. Enjoy this journey as we go together. It's just adjusting where you've placed your hands, just making any slight adjustments to finding just how your body can be comfortably stacked and held in this grid of gravity, levity. field, invisible but very, very palpable field surrounding us. Gravity anchoring us downward, levity buoying up, buoying upward. And then we just open our senses like automatic blinds opening, simply letting in whatever's coming through and consciously inviting rest to the eyebrows, to the eyes, to the cheekbones, to the scalp, letting that restful flow continue down the neck and shoulders, arms, to the wrists and hands, down the waist, and to the hips and belly, and flow the weight of yourself to the ground. And breath, and we deepen the intimacy with our breath. And from time to time, sense that the possibility of your of the truth of your eternal boundless self. Your face before your parents were born, as one of the Zen koans points to. If you find yourself struggling, grab hold of any lifesaver tool, perhaps the counting of the breath, one on the in breath, two on the out breath for a few rounds. Perhaps listening to the birds outside and the miracle of hearing that and enjoying the message, the melody of the bird. Couple more breaths together in our practice. Bring my hands together in front of my heart. I bow to you, to myself, to the life source, to this practice. One day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying, realizing it's not a part of your journeying or not essential to journeying or joy. Mm. I want to see that again. Uh, Not a part of your body or being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. So we do that sometimes here, the practice of getting still, and I may ask a question and we feel how in our body, in our emotions, in our sensing and knowing, we experience something and we give it voice, we give it a label. And it's very powerful. And often we need a quieting because our mind, our survival instincts are so powerful, so on all the time. And all that doing is so important and uh, such a service to our communities and to our world. But if it's only on all the time without rest, without a balance of rest, of quiet, of of pause, and opening to space, of a different aperture of our attention, then it just gets chokes. It chokes off the life force. The yin yang flow cannot happen. And so we suffer then. So thank you for joining me for this pause in your day and in your breaths. Please do check out sunandmoonstudio.com for all our offerings and community opportunities. And I'll see you next week, the 13th of April, 2025. And then on the 20th, there's a pause. I think we pause classes. I think Thursday might be the last classes. And then I don't know if we start up on Monday or Tuesday after the 20th, 21st or 22nd, somewhere around there. Check the website. Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao. Oh, I don't know if Steve was here with us today or not, but Bye, Steve. I'm sure you're out there at some point. Ciao.